American politics is at a critical juncture. The stage is set for one of the biggest events ahead of the presidential elections in the U.S. The countdown for the Republican National Convention has begun. All eyes are on Milwaukee and the red camp poster boy Donald Trump, who survived an assassination attempt over the weekend. In a few hours from now, Trump is expected to put all speculation to rest and reveal who his running mate will be. As per reports, Trump has told a media house that he will be announcing his vice president candidate during the convention today. Speculation around several names have been doing rounds for months now. But in the past few days, the potential list of VP candidates has been cut short to Republican leaders. Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum, and Florida Senator Marco Rubio are the top contenders. Trump's speech at the convention is also highly awaited by his party and supporters alike. After the fateful turn of events just over 48 hours ago, the former U.S. president said that he will come to the podium with a new speech, one that calls on America to unite. Following the assassination attempt on Trump, security arrangement for the convention has been under the scanner, but local authorities and national security officials say that the highest measures are in place to ensure a smooth run. The Secret Service has also emphasized that no change will occur in security and surveillance arrangements for the four-day event.
I know that people have those questions in light of what happened on Saturday in Pennsylvania, the, again, horrific attack at Mr. Trump's rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. What I can tell you is that the designation that we have here in the city of Milwaukee for this convention is a national special security event. It is the highest designation that our federal government provides for an event of this caliber, of this magnitude. So I feel pretty confident in what we've worked to establish in terms of public safety for this event over the course of the last 18 months.
Thousands of Trump's supporters were put on the streets of Milwaukee, holding a vigil for Trump ahead of his arrival at the convention venue.
As we can see from yesterday, God isn't finished with Trump and he's still using him, and he's got big plans for him, because that was a total miracle yesterday.
You ask. Trump is expected to formally accept the Republican presidential nomination at the convention. And for more on this, we are now being joined by our correspondent Susan Teherani live in New York. Susan, hi. Republicans are visibly pumped up over the convention more than ever, aren't they?
Yeah, this is a party that's possibly more united than ever in contemporary history at this point, and not just because of that assassination attempt, but I think they also saw the divisions within the Democratic Party over Joe Biden's age and mental acuity and the behind-the-scenes wrangling between the Democrats, and that has just made them stronger in their message. And the messaging that the former president has put forward is something that, has become sort of really a benchmark of how the House is operating and how lawmakers from all spectrums of the Republican Party, you say far right to the center, they've really embraced the former president's agenda. So yes, they're very pumped up. They're very excited. I thought it was noteworthy that I'm not sure if it was because of the assassination attempt or not, or if it was just a change of schedule. But before, Nikki Haley wasn't supposed to speak at the RNC. South Carolina governor, former presidential contender against Donald Trump, but now she'll be present and possibly speaking at the RNC, the Republican National Convention.
That's very interesting, because we are also reporting that there are three names which will be fronted at the convention for the VP position. What do you know so far about that?
So this is what we know, and we can only read the tea leaves. We all have our guesses who's going to be. We don't know, of course. But I will say J.D. Vance is very close to Donald Trump Jr., President Trump's eldest son. I also want to say that on his podcast, Donald Trump Jr. a few days ago or maybe a week ago, said that Marco Rubio wouldn't be a good candidate because he's sort of an establishment Republican and may ultimately try to get the former president impeached should he become president and work with the Democrats. I mean, that's just his assessment. But the fact that the president's eldest son really doesn't approve of Marco Rubio, is very close to J.D. Vance, then some believe that it may be neither of them, and it'll be Doug Burgum, who's just literally the least controversial figure, if you think about it. The issue with J.D. Vance is he did win Ohio's Senate race. He does have a very prosperous future, according to Republicans, but he didn't win by a wide margin. And the vice presidential candidate really is something, well, not so important, but it will help bring in other voters as well. So something to consider.
Susan, there are reports that Trump will change his speech with a call for the nation to unite. Yesterday also, President Biden made the same sentiment while reacting to Trump's threat to his life attempt. But how is the general public taking this clarion call of unity?
Yeah, that's such a big question. You know, it's hard to really try to set the differences aside overnight. I think what'll be very telling moving forward is not what President Biden said during that Oval Office address. What will be telling is when he starts campaigning once again this week, and what he'll be saying on the campaign trail about the former president and the rhetoric that he will use. And also Donald Trump as well. You know, the Republican convention is one thing. They're going to continue campaigning as well. And we're 4 months into the elections. So we'll see how both of them really, you know, keep up their words, so to say. But it's very hard to see that the political climate has been toned down. If anything, if you look online right now, the conspiracy theories are just through the roof about what happened and who was responsible for it, and so on and so forth. So it's trying times here for this election.
Trying times indeed. Very quickly, Susan, before I let you go, what has really changed in the U.S. since that incident 2 days ago?
You know, what was very interesting is one of the very famous morning shows on a very progressive media outlet here that was really responsible for, you know, comparing Donald Trump oftentimes to Hitler, talking about neo-Nazis and how it'll be the end of democracy when he's elected. That morning show, which is very popular, for the first time in decades, got canceled this morning. They didn't play it Monday morning. They say they'll be back tomorrow. But they said the reason for that was because they weren't sure that the guests that would come on that show, that are regular guests of the network, would be able to sort of bite their tongues and not say something that might be rhetorical against the former president during such sensitive times. So I think at least the media is trying to be as measured as possible, but that was really stunning, just because you're in the United States and you know that show so well. It was shocking to see that they decided not to air that show this morning. I mean, is that an admission? We don't know, but it was interesting.
Susan Teherani, our correspondent in New York. Thank you, Susan. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.